Hey guys, I just played this game which illustrates a really important concept, and that's the concept of preventing your opponent's counterplay. See, a lot of times when we play chess, I think we get caught up in what we're trying to do. We have a plan and we're trying to follow through with our plan, that we forget that maybe there's a simple way we can prevent what our opponent is going to do, and sometimes that's the best move we can make. So in this video, we're going to talk about a specific moment in this game where that happened and why I actually messed it up in this game, but we'll talk about that right now. All right, so I was white. We had a Sicilian. This is bishop b5. You guys know I like to play this a lot. Knight d7, d4, just getting the center, developing our pieces, my castle, and now bishop e7. So at this point, I'm developed. I am castled, and now is when I can start to think about what other moves do I want to make? How can I put some pressure on my opponent, potentially create some threats? So I decided e5 was a good way to do that. Try to open up the center before they get a chance to castle, because if you can get their king stuck in the center, that's usually a pretty good thing. And actually, this is a line that I've played before. I knew that this was very possible, because what happens after you, well, let me back up for a second. When I play e5, I'm kind of forcing black to make a tough decision. They don't really want to take and let my knight come in and put pressure on their bishop. But if they don't take, what are they going to do? If they try to like move their knight somewhere, that's not really going to work. I can take here, I can just trade, and I'm going to be able to win a pawn here, and it's just not really a good choice. And because of that, they pretty much have to just take it. So they did. I captured this. Now I have, like I said, 3 pieces attacking this. So my threat is simply to take here and then win a piece here. So bishop c6, only real move for black. I took here, also defends my queen, so black can't trade queens right now, or my knight would escape, right, like this, and I would just come out up a piece. So black has to take back. So first benefit that I get from that is the messed up their pawn structure. And also now I can take here, takes, and queen c5. Remember what I said earlier about preventing them from castling. Remember, you can't castle through check, right? So that's what I'm doing by playing queen c5, preventing black from castling. At the same time, I have this nice little attack on the queen. So, and we're attacking this. So we've got a lot happening, but already I have a nice advantage. So queen c7. And now I played rook d6. This actually wasn't the best move. I missed something here, but I thought it was pretty smart because I was going for this isolated pawn. It turns out that black can actually take here. I can't recapture with my queen because then my rook would be undefended. So I have to take this way, and this is why it's not a great move for me. Basically, black's just going to sacrifice this pawn and then bring the queen over here. And I actually have to be really careful. Black's got a lot of attacking chances on my king, and because the pawns are messed up, it's hard for my king to find, shelter. So that's what should have happened. Now, I didn't see that. My opponent didn't see that either and just played bishop to e7, which is the move I was kind of expecting, right? So I took here with check just to go ahead and win the pawn. And so at this point, I have a nice, comfortable advantage, right? It's pretty equal, except I have an extra pawn. And in addition to the extra pawn, I have a more active, my rook is much more active, right, than black's are. So a lot of things going for me. Castles, I brought this rook over. Rook here. Brought the rook down to the 7th rank. A lot of times this is a good place for your rook. So I'm just kind of following the general principles. I played knight a4. I was keeping an eye on this, so I'm defending that, and also was thinking about relocating my knight forward here. Rook comes up. I played b3. I wanted to defend that and also kind of just deal with this threat. I didn't want to keep having to worry about that, bishop and rook combo there. So b3, solved that. h5. And now we get to the critical moment in the game. So this is where I really missed a good opportunity to prevent my opponent's counterplay. So I'd like you guys to pause and think through this position for a little bit. And what do you think a good move for white would be? And more importantly, what is the counterplay that you're trying to prevent by playing that move? So go ahead and take a few minutes if you'd like, see if you can find a move. And if you had a chance to look at that and came up with your idea, the best move in this position, which I did not play, I didn't think about it until later, but the best move was c4. And why is this such a good move? This is actually a really strong move. Let's just think about what's going on here. First of all, I'm up a pawn. I have the majority over here, so I have 3 against 1. Generally speaking, in chess, a lot of times it's a good idea to push your pawns where you have the majority, because that's where you're going to be able to create passed pawns. So I'm going to be wanting to push over here. Black has the majority over here, 4 against 3. So this is where black would be wanting to push their pawns. I already have my rooks very nicely placed over here, controlling the queen side. My knight is there. Complete control over the queen side. The only real chance that black has for some sort of counterplay would be over here on the king side, where I don't really have any pieces. If this rook somehow came over and started attacking these pawns, and maybe they created a passed pawn or something, that could be how black gets back in this game, right? And I had one chance right now to just completely shut that down. If I play c4, there is no way anytime soon, right, that this rook is going to make it over here. I mean, do you see a way that that rook can get over there? I don't see one readily. Like maybe it can come back here and over here and somehow we trade and then eventually the other rook gets over here. But that's going to be a lot of moves, right? Not easy to do. So this just completely shuts this rook down, takes it out of the game. I don't have to worry about anything over here. Maybe a bishop can attack a pawn or something, but that's relatively easy to deal with compared to a rook, right? So the point and the takeaway is try to think, where could your opponent get counterplay? This is especially true when you're in a winning position. You have an advantage, you're in the lead. You want to ask yourself, how could this game potentially get away from me? What could go wrong? And if I would have thought about that, I probably could have found the move c4, right? Instead, I played rook here. And at first glance, it looks like a nice move. I mean, I'm doubling up my rooks on the 7th. I'm getting ready to attack, to take this pawn, right? But the problem is, look at this, rook to f4, and black actually is attacking me, but also defending tactically. So if I take this, if you guys would like to pause, what can black play now to win my rook? Well, the move that I was thinking of was bishop check. It's a discovered check, and after I take it, then black can take here. It turns out that the engine actually says that this is still a winning position for me because I have so many pawns, or slightly better for me, I guess. And the engine was liking some other move here, like just rook takes f2. It's actually even better for black. So that's kind of interesting. But the point is that black basically deals with my threat and is creating some counter threats here. And it's all because I let that rook in, right? If I would have played c4, this never would have happened. So let's see what happens as the game goes on. I played f3 to kind of shut that down. Now black's trying to play h3, and if I let that happen and I take, then the rook's going to take, and then I'm going to be able to take all my pawns. So I played h3 to try to delay that. Rook here, again, the rook is coming over, right? And now it's not that easy for me to stop. Like now the rook is involved, and I have to kind of keep this at the back of my mind. So I played c4, and here is another example of how I wasn't thinking about preventing my opponent's counterplay. I remember in the game, I kind of said to myself, you know what? I'm just going to go on the offensive and do my own thing and not worry about this and watch what happens. So rook comes over. I played c5, captures, c6, rook here. And now I have to be careful, right? Black's about to have a passed pawn. Now, in my mind, I was thinking, well, I'm going to get a queen first. But you're going to see how I miscalculated. So knight here, rook comes over, rook here, bishop here. Knight comes back, okay. And I think there's a moment here. Let's see, king d1, rook takes h3, knight to d6, yes. So totally blundered here. So here's my idea. I wanted to stop the bishop from being able to sacrifice on c7, because if I push, I was expecting that black was going to take this. I didn't want to let that happen. So I wanted to play knight d6 to stop the bishop so that I can go ahead and push and actually force black to sacrifice a rook. That's what I was going for. The problem with this move, well, I'll let you guys see if you can spot it. Can you see what black's idea could be? Why is this such a big blunder? Well, if you had a chance to look at that, this one's a little bit more advanced, so if you didn't find it, don't sweat it. But rook to h1 check. After I move, h3. And the point is that if we try to go ahead and race here, black's actually going to be able to get a queen. I'm not going to be able to capture it, and black is going to be able to take my queen, right? So for example, I get the queen, black sacrifices, and then black just simply moves the rook probably somewhere over here. And next move, he's getting a queen. I can't stop it. I have no way to use any of these pieces, right, to get there. And so black's just completely winning. So I kind of threw the game with a series of poor decisions, and it all started with not preventing my opponent's counterplay. That's something that strong players do a lot of the time, is they don't even give you a chance to make some sort of a comeback, right? Because if you happen to miscalculate one little thing, like in this case, this idea of the rook coming down and then just getting a queen, and I have no way to stop it, right? That would have never happened if I would have just played c4 earlier and prevented that rook from even coming over here, right? So now, luckily for me, in the game, black didn't see that idea, played here, I pushed, we traded, and the game went on. And I'll just, for the sake of completeness, show you how it ended. And here, there's a little tactic to be able to promote the queen, but you have to do it in the right way. So if you'd like to pause and think through that for a second, go ahead. Well, the move is you have to capture first with the rook, and then you have to play check, and then you push the queen. So if you played the queen right away, it doesn't work because the rook takes, and this is defended, actually. And so you end up just losing. So That's what I did. I took here, and I ended up with the rook and king against these 4 pawns. And it was kind of funny because we're both like running out of time, and my opponent's just pushing these pawns, and I'm trying to stop them. And I kind of messed this up a little bit, but it worked out in the end. So right here, opponent only had 7 seconds. They were running out of time, and they, I guess, missed this skewer. So ended up winning the game. But let's go back and recap, because that was a game that I should have lost. And it all had to do with, so right here, okay, we get into a great position. We win the pawn. Everything is great. And at this moment, I need to ask myself, okay, how is black going to get counterplay? And it's going to be over here, right? It has to be over here. And so if I would have played c4, none of that other stuff would have happened, right? So that was one moment. And then again, let's see. Yeah, and then again, even right here when I played c4 and just kind of started randomly pushing this pawn, I could have still asked myself, okay, this is a threat. How can I prevent that? Because if I can prevent that, black doesn't really have much. I mean, black's position is not great. And so a move I could have played here, rook to c5. And the point is, I'm not letting that rook come over here and start harassing these pawns, right? Because if that rook can't harass these pawns, the bishop's on the wrong color. Bishop can't do anything, right? So rook c5 shuts down black's counterplay here. And if we get like a trade, well, I'm very happy with this position, right? I mean, look at black's rook not doing much. My rook is great. And, you know, the game goes on. I'm going to be pushing these pawns, and I have a nice, comfortable advantage. And I shut down what black was trying to do. But instead, I just kind of ignored it, right? Did my own thing. And we end up with this, it's kind of a toss-up. Who's going to win? Whose pawn's going to get there first? I don't really know, you know, not what you want to do. Not what you want to do, right? So hopefully that helps you guys. And, you know, like I said, key takeaway, if you can prevent your opponent's counterplay, sometimes that's better than even going for your own plan. So hopefully that helped you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.